Okay. Hello, my name is Anna, and this is Renewed Life Acres. This is my first video in this new house that we have moved in. May 19th, 2025 is when we moved here. We are in central North Carolina on almost 2.5 acres. And I want to transition this channel. Well, this is what I always intended this channel to be, is about our life here and growing our little homestead and what you can do on 2.5 acres. And so our first project today is, our first project after all of the junk removal that we did, and are still probably going to continue having to do. I guess so after that, and moving in, we're still unpacking and organizing and all of that. But it is almost July. We've had a ton of rain this year, and so we have so much growth with the vegetation that we have out here. The grass, the trees, the brush, the woods are becoming more and more overgrown. So we want to get some sheep to keep it down for us. And so that's our first real big project, a homestead type project. We plan to get 2 to 4 Katahdin user rams. We don't know yet. And so we have to set up some fencing. We are choosing between Premier 1 and 4-strand polywire from Gallagher. So right now I will flip the camera around and show you the first part of figuring out how that 4-strand electric would work for us. We have very not flat land. Almost none of it is really flat at all. Especially our back. It's at a pretty steep incline where the majority of our land is, but we have a nice big front yard here that right now I'm using a measuring wheel and some marking flags and figuring out exactly how many T-posts we would need and how many feet of polywire we would need if we chose to go with that. We already ordered some Premier 1 netting, and we did that without doing enough research to realize that maybe with our terrain here, it wouldn't be the best. So another mentor mentioned polywire, how that can be a lot more customizable. And so now we're looking into the polywire. Do we keep the Premier 1 electric netting? Do we send it back? And so we're trying to find a budget on how much the polywire would be if it's not too expensive, because it seems like you get a lot of polywire for under $150. And we already have a lot of T-posts that I will show you from the poorly installed old fencing that was already on the property when we moved here. We might be able to do both. That would be optimal, but we'll see. So I will show you what we're doing right here. Okay, so this is our front yard. It's pretty big. It's about, I think I measured it, it's about half an acre, I believe. From half an acre to maybe 0.7 of an acre. And I've started putting yellow flags, and I ended right here when I realized that I wanted to be filming this. So we will go over here. I wanted to document this. I've always wanted to do YouTube and videos or things like that. And so now's our chance, but also in doing some research about sheep and sheep care and polywire electric netting for, our type of specific situation on very not flat land. I don't know a better word for that. I couldn't find exactly what I was looking for, so I figured why not fill in that gap that appears to be online. and just share our journey. We're putting them every 10 feet. That is what the lady at the local farm store recommended. So, you know, this in theory, we might move this line a little bit over, but the distance will be the same. So every yellow flag is a T-post, and then we're gonna potentially run 4 strands of poly wire. We're starting right where I laid it down, where I stopped. We're gonna go 10 feet. And then I'm gonna stake it. Find a good place where it fits, and then you continue on to the next 10 feet. That was just one little section of 10 foot, and then I walked out of the frame. That's what we're doing, and once I'm done, we'll come back with the calculations. Okay, we came inside. It was much too hot outside. We finished the project. I need new glasses. That's bad. It's like 95 degrees here, and that's hot for central North Carolina. I guess we're in a heat wave right now. It's the hottest it's been all year this week. And I have to check on my sourdough. I also bake sourdough from my home for local pickup. So that looks ready to go. I'm gonna have to get it all put together. I'm not a sourdough expert by any means, but I can make, you know, consistently good loaves that people are willing to buy. I've been doing it for definitely over a year. Maybe even close to 2 years now. I think it was January 2 years ago that I started. We just moved, so I took a break because I was pregnant. I was super nauseous during the first trimester, so I worked up until then. And then after I was done being nauseous for the second and third trimester, I worked as long as I could then. And then I had to stop after I had the baby in middle of March. I actually stopped around February because it became too much. And then we moved, and just now getting a starter that likes, you know, the temperature of the house, the atmosphere or environment or whatever here, and the water. We're on well water instead of city water now. So this is my first test loaf, just for us to see if it comes out good again, and then we will continue that as a little fun, mostly hobby, but a little bit of an income stream. Okay, so I went ahead and wrote down all of the information, all of the numbers and everything. So we had 510 feet of length that we would want to have the 4 strands of poly wire on. 1 roll at our local farm supply store of Gallagher, the blue and white poly wire, is 1,640 feet. So if you divide that by 4 strands, because we want to run a 4-strand gate, that is 410 feet per roll. And so we would need 2 rolls because we need a total of 510 feet, give or take no more than 50, depending on how close to the house we want it, where we want to cut it off as it goes into the woods, before it goes into the woods. So then if we buy 2 rolls, we'll have 820 feet total for a 4-strand line, and we'll have 310 left over. And one of those packs is $135. So if we add those together, let's do some quick math. I forgot to do this math. I'm not good at math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. $270 for that fencing, which is significantly cheaper. Now that doesn't include the T-posts, which are $6 a piece at Tractor Supply. We'd need 54 of those, and then we need a T-post driver if we want to do it properly, which we do, which is $55. I'll be right back. I have to go finish my sourdough. So, I think it's a lot more than we thought, which is why the netting exists. I think maybe because it's cheaper. And maybe that I'm not thinking about this the smartest way. Honestly, we can probably reconfigure this in a different way. So let me explain. I'm looking out the window because I can see all the layout. The way that I was thinking with rotational grazing, if you have just a huge pasture set up with the semi-permanent fencing of the 4-strand polywire, you have to move the fencing less frequently if it covers a bigger area. Now, this number, the total with T-posts, so that includes 2 rolls of the polywire, 54 T-posts, a T-post driver, 10. I was looking at 10, having that front section. Hold on. We ordered 200-foot electrical netting from Premier One. We were thinking a 50 by 50 foot area would be sufficient enough for 2 to 4 Katahdin sheep, rotating every 1 to 4 days, depending on how quickly they eat what's out there. So with that thinking, my next thought was, what if we use the polywire instead of the netting and we fenced with semi-permanent fencing, 4 strands of polywire with T-posts, and just enclosed the whole front yard so that we could divide it up into 10 pastures. Because that's in that 0.6 of an acre, you can fit a little over, maybe I think it's like 10 and a half. So we'll just say 10. 50 by 50 foot areas, which is 2,500 square feet. That's obviously too expensive. So we have to find another way. It's $1,300, and I think we spent $700 something on the one starter kit with a 100-foot roll. And so it comes with an energizer and a test kit and a ground rod, plus another 100-foot roll. So I need to think, and we just get less and move it more frequently, and hopefully not so frequently that it's annoying rolling up and redistributing 4 strands of electric and T-posts. But that's where we're going to end today's video. It's a little disheartening because I thought this would be cheaper, and it might be cheaper in the long run, like if we had the energizer, the ground rod. I don't think I finished going through all the supplies. So that $1,300 is 2 rolls of 1,640 feet of polywire each, 54 T-posts, a T-post driver, 40 rubber grip gate handles, so 1 per strand, 4 per T-posts, because we're running 4 strands. Insulators per strand per T-post, so we would need 216 individual insulators. They come in packs of 20, so 11 packs. An energizer, a grounding rod, and 4 cattle panels. Because you have to train the sheep to the electric. You have to take the cattle panels. This is all the advice that we were given from people who've done it before, I'm assuming. Well, they have a huge farm that they sell meat from, so I'm assuming that they've done this. And that's what their advice was. You take 4 16-foot cattle panels, connect them together, run a single strand of polywire along one of those 16-foot panels, and they just stay in there for somewhere under a week, around a week, until they know that that wire is hot and you don't go near it, and then we would enclose them in it. So thanks for watching this video. I don't know if I'm actually going to post it, but this is my process of how I how I organize and plan, and I love doing it. In the middle of this video, my husband called me and asked if I enjoy all of this planning, and I definitely do. So I'm gonna try to find a way to make this polywire system cheaper, but also not so much more work than the electric netting. So thanks for joining us, and I hope I plan to, and I hope I film us getting the sheep and bringing them home. It might happen this weekend. Today is Wednesday, but it might not. So honestly, it probably will. We're probably gonna just keep, I don't know what's gonna happen, but stay tuned. Bye.